believe in energy and spirits. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson from Hawaii has that. And he also, shout out to the U, shout out to The Rock out here in Miami. This is the Miami Hustle.
Yo, Rock,
We love you. We appreciate you.
I challenge you to an arm wrestling competition.
Yeah.
Easy dub.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
Easy
Yo,
dub.
pass me both, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my bad. Let me finish off my cocktail here. This is the conspiracy cocktail.
Hey.
There you go.
The Conspiracy?
The conspiracy cocktail.
All right, let me just shake this up real
Oh,
quick.
yeah, I'm also a bartender here in Miami / conspiracy theorist, local conspiracy theorist.
Conspiracy theories, man.
Yes.
It seems that more of them are true than not
Exactly.
lately.
They're not really...
Are they theories?
Yeah, exactly. They're not really theories, are they? They're
Shout out
just...
to all the bartenders out there.
Yeah, they're truths that they don't want you to hear. And that's what they should call them.
Like you, man. Like as soon as COVID hit and like
Cheers.
going to for a
Cheers.
vote.
To freedom
Yes.
and to the USA.
Thank God.
Yes, sir, and God. And love.
That's pretty smooth.
It's nice, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man, so where we headed? What's going on?
Damn. Well, we're in like a bunch of different conflicts right now, so it's like pick your poison. You have, again, so we want to just segue off what we were just talking about, the domestic conflict, right? They're about to arrest Trump on Tuesday based off of, the increase to the felony indictment. Then you have the war in Ukraine, and then you have the transition of the pandemic laws that they're about to enact, the international, basically like a world government set of laws for future pandemics. So, now you thought a pandemic was COVID. All right, let me just, give you an idea. They really wanted to. They could release a virus that's going to have you bleeding out your nose, your eyes, your ears, your mouth. They really want to kill people. They would do that. But, they just have this system going forward where now you're comfortable with your rights being taken away with the system that's being put in place. So we have all these different conflicts with them, internationalizing the COVID pandemic law. And what does that mean? Like I have a segment on my podcast where I kind of break that down with Tedros from the WHO, talking about, international law for pandemics. And what does that really mean? Your rights were already taken away from you depending on what state you were in. Now, other countries, they didn't have any choice. There was no separation of powers amongst the states. It was just the country's, version of whatever the law was. That's what makes America great. Now what happens when you go down that route where you're like, okay, now the WHO runs my life. Holy shit, I have no choice. Even if I'm in Florida, I have no choice.
The WHO is what?
World Health Organization.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tedros, who's like, I think he was part of some Ethiopian terrorist group or something like that, bro. Like he's the head of the WHO. I don't even think he's like a doctor or anything like that.
It's just
How is the head of the WHO not a doctor?
Yeah, I don't know.
What are his credentials? Who is
Yeah, what is Klaus Schwab's credentials, what are these people's real credentials except for going along with the system? It's like, all right, well, here's an operative. We got somebody to take the talking points and put in the
puppets?
system. Yeah, puppets.
yeah.
For the
So
Illuminati.
Who are above the puppets? Illuminati?
Illuminati.
What is the Illuminati?
Reptilians?
Whoa, what are
Yeah.
reptilians? I've never heard of that before.
So there's certain people.
it goes like this, just to get, again,
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm trying to grasp it all. So it's reptilians, Illuminati.
Again, extraterrestrial influence, Illuminati. It's kind of like the
the elites.
the elites,
The
like certain
globalists.
people that
So reptilians,
carry the pure
Illuminati.
blood of the Elohim or whatever.
So basically, power is described as reptilians, Illuminati, puppets, government, society.
Yeah, so now the puppets would be the head of the world organizations. You know, the Illuminati is a collective of all the different secret societies and everything like that. And then who runs the Illuminati would be the extraterrestrial influence, which would mainly be the malevolent race, not the benevolent race.
So Illuminati has always been said to be the devil. So the devil is the
the story of the story of the Bible,
or the
like we were talking about earlier.
So are reptilians the devil? Is that what that means?
It could be. I mean,
what are reptilians?
Well, that's the thing is, like, if you decipher the Bible in a sense of it's just a book of like religion and spirituality, and maybe you don't think in certain terms because it was so long ago. Who knows what type of technology they saw, or why is that book so important compared to all the other books in the history of man? It's not just because of Jesus and the religion of Christianity. It can't be. It has to be because there's certain stories in that book that depict something that tells us the truth of our origin of humanity. So what is that? What is the origin of humanity? And does the origin of humanity, whether it be reptilian influence, whether it be human influence from some other part of the galaxy, whether you believe in that or not, I don't believe that we're the only people here in the universe. I just don't think we're the only intelligent race. To be honest, we're not that damn intelligent. You know, we fight amongst each other all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we allow these governments to take over us. It's our job to kind of increase our intelligence to the point of these beings where we could actually interact among them. I think that's what they're really waiting for.
But isn't it to the point that if we advance our own knowledge to the point that we can interact with them, people get assassinated?
Yeah. I mean, definitely at the highest levels. I mean, if you go,
why did our president get assassinated?
JFK?
Yeah, JFK. What happened there?
Well, he wanted to disband the three-letter agencies, specifically the CIA. So
let's talk about that.
That just recently got declassified. Like, I don't know all the details behind it, but I do know that I think that the government was involved. I mean, I don't want to just go out on a limb, like, because I don't know everything off the top of my head. It was like Lee Harvey Oswald was like a defector to Russia. Then they came back and made him like a story, like a Russian defector that went crazy that sniped JFK. I believe that's the background story behind it. Mm-hmm. Now, JFK was the tip of the iceberg. Before JFK, there was Eisenhower, and Eisenhower warned of a technological elite that was going to a military-industrial complex, technological elite that was going to take over the world. That was his closing address. And he was one of the main generals in World War II. So you have him warning of a technological elite. Now, what does that mean? What is a technological elite? That means they hold some type of technology secrets that humanity doesn't have. And I was mentioning to you the one incident of Secretary of Defense James Forrestal. They believe that he was assassinated as well. He was one of the heads of MJ-12, and he was assassinated. And that was because he wanted to come out about all the reptilian stuff, about all the reptilian influence and the secret space programs in the United States.
What's MJ-12?
MJ-12 is like the secret of the secret, all about UFO technology.
What's MJ? What does that stand for?
Majestic. I think it was Majestic 12 was the original name, and then they just symboled it down to MJ-12.
And that's a secret space.
I think there was 12 individuals that signed on to it. 12, and James Forrestal being one of them, and he was assassinated.
Do you think there are aliens walking amongst us on the same Earth?
Yes.
Do you think there's been celebrity aliens, maybe Elon Musk, someone like that, where they're just
Elon Musk is a weird contradiction to me. I don't think he's an alien. I think he's had contact with maybe an alien or like something in the government, maybe. And
so
I
think like
think
a demi-alien.
I don't know. He's a weird contradiction to me. Like, his ex was all into that, like, devil worshipping stuff or whatever. Like,
what?
Yeah, like, it was weird. Like, he's worn certain outfits where you're like, that has to deal with some satanic stuff.
He's also a big troll, so.
Huge troll. super intelligent guy. He knows what he's talking
Shout
about.
out to Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk. Like, I'm not hating.
top
you
E,
know,
top
you
E.
you're definitely doing
Big
a lot of
boss.
good stuff for the world, Elon. But at the same time, Elon Musk, I think, needs to just use his power as far as SpaceX goes to maybe increase the timeline for space travel for just regular civilians. I think that would be the next big step for Elon Musk if he could do that.
He's working on that, and I think his plan is to continue to work on Twitter to blow that up to the point where, especially with the election coming up in about like a year and a half, I think his goal is to blow up Twitter, especially during the elections, and then profit so much off of that, and then dump that, because he's been known to like dump his millions of profit instead of on himself. He dumps it into SpaceX.
I'm worried.
Dumps all that into SpaceX.
I'm only worried about one thing. Like, sometimes they put these people in positions of power, even Elon Musk, because they have some type of technologies they want to release. So Elon Musk being the head of Tesla and all this stuff, maybe they put him into that position to release certain technologies, and he's maybe part of the grand scheme of everything. But maybe he's, not. But I just think a little bit differently, especially with people that have always been back and forth on the fence. But if you really want to know what the reptilians are and all that other crap, there's a funny movie that has it's called Vrilya, the Coming Race. If you ever get a chance to watch that, it basically makes fun of the reptilian story and the dark side of the moon, and how the Nazis had already discovered space flight technology and formed a civilization on the dark side of the moon.
The dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So the moon doesn't rotate. The moon's a crazy thing, man. The moon is one of the craziest things ever. The moon is like a phenomenon of phenomenons. Think about how big the moon is, and the fact that, why not? It's stuck in a tidal lock. What is it, like,
It's the same. The face of the moon that you see every night is literally the same. It doesn't. It
I
literally.
never thought about that.
It doesn't rotate.
So there really is a dark side of the moon.
You never see the back side of the
So
moon.
is the dark side of the moon, I guess, so dark and cold that we can't visit it?
no,
What
you just
happens
can't
over there?
see it.
You can't see it.
You can't see it on a telescope. You can't see it with a satellite unless you have
A mirror
obviously
behind the moon.
All
the
right.
government.
Question: why haven't we been back to the moon? So my theory on the moon, just so like you have an idea of where I'm at. I don't do too much research into this. I just have my common sense, and I have my my thoughts and ideas and theories. And the way I see it is like, if we were to, if an alien was to land on Earth, but for whatever reason they happen to land on the part of Earth that is a desert, and when you land there, they take a couple steps here, a couple steps there, a couple steps here, but they don't see anything. They just see desert, and they just see sand, and then they pack their shit, and then they go back home, and they're just like, man, Earth, we don't know if it has any life because we didn't see much. Why isn't the moon that same concept where like you land on the moon, you look around, and then they took a couple steps, but then they packed their shit, they went back home, and they haven't been to the moon ever since? Like, why?
So there's
Why haven't we explored 90% of the moon at this point?
there's two, well, not two, or there's really one really serious theory of thought because of NASA experiments. They had a lunar module slam into the moon with seismometer, whatever the fuck, seismometers on the moon to scale the size of whatever that impact was. Well, what they found was that the moon rang like a bell, like a gong. So that gives you an idea that it's hollow inside. Why is a solid structure, if you ram anything into the earth, it's not going to ring like a bell. It's just going to, especially something the size of a lunar module, it's just going to make like a bang. You're going to hear it, but it's not going to continuously ring for how long it rang. And that shows you if a small object like that rams into the moon and it makes that type of impact. Now, whether that's disinformation.
It's hollow.
It's hollow. So what they're saying is that the moon is hollow. So what if it is some type of structure that was put there exactly in tidal lock with Earth that size, that perfect shape of a circle, if you look at a lot of other moons on other planets, they're not perfect circles like that. They're not. They're like weird shaping rocks, but that one's a fucking perfect circle. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah, no,
perfect
it's weird.
circle.
Speaking of perfect circles, like we were watching this the other day because I'm just fortunate enough to have this balcony, and I love this view because I'm able to see the city, and then over here, we're able to see the sunset. So when the sun sets, you
Yeah.
get to see, at least from our human eyes, a perfect circle of a sun. And I've always wondered when I watch the sunset, I'm like, how is the sun such a perfect circle, at least from my eyes? And what exactly is the sun? It's just crazy to me that the sun is something that we rely on as humans to live. And we look at it as something that, well, it has energy and it's always there and it's always going to be there. So we're not, like, you can't even touch the sun. So what are your thoughts or theories on the sun? I'm good.
Well, the sun, I mean, obviously it's the essence of life. I mean, the
I feel
sun,
like it's a little just overlooked. Like, it's just there, but
yeah. I mean, the sun, I think that it's obviously the most important thing in our solar system, but I think that some people have talked about the sun being like some type of gate of some sort, like they use stars as
We don't
gates.
know.
It's like that's the craziest stuff that I've heard.
Have
but
you watched The Truman Show? Or the movie?
No.
No?
You've never
Jim
seen the Truman
Carrey?
Show?
No.
Jim Carrey.
But they
okay.
use the sun as like some
So
portal?
what they do in that movie is, I mean, so what they do is the sun is basically, it's controlled, and what the Truman Show is Jim Carrey has lived his whole life as a character of a reality show that he didn't know about. So everyone around him are actors,
Okay.
and everyone like in real society and reality is like, every night at like 7 or 9 p.m. they tune in because actually no, it's an all-day show. From like whenever you want, you can tune in and you just watch this guy live his life.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
His whole life is a movie.
So like aliens.
But what happens
Watching
is,
him.
but what happens is towards the end of the movie, he starts to realize things because he gets older, and he's like, fuck it, I don't even care about living anymore. So I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to like find the truth. So he swims to the sun, and then he gets to the sun and he realizes the sun is just like, it's fake. It's just a screen. And then he like rips through it, and then it's the set, and then he realizes that
It's
there's
all
other
simulation,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
It's pretty trippy.
But yeah, I mean, you
can't
should
believe I've
watch
never
it.
seen that. I've heard
it's
of it,
old.
though.
It's old.
Yeah, I've heard of
it's
it.
a classic. But I was just wondering if, because anyways, the sun. Back to that, like it's very interesting. But it goes hand in hand with the moon. So if the moon is hollow, why isn't the sun hollow? What do we know about the sun?
It's just the energy source of everything.
The
Without
laws,
the sun,
the
we
laws
don't.
of physics say that everything started as hydrogen, and then the sun compresses shit so tight and then explodes, and that's how you get gold and silver. Like,
Whoa.
all the elements are made from when a sun explodes, from what I
Yeah.
understand.
You know, I don't know exactly like how many
So is sun
star
is-
systems there are and stuff like that. How many galaxies there are? Apparently, there's like billions or trillions of galaxies. I mean, you think about how small we are in the universe in the grand scheme of everything. It's absolutely insane. Even us just having this podcast right now, and
Well, when I went to New York for the first time, for the first and only time so far, I went to the Empire State Building, and I was on the top floor, and I looked down and I see a society of ants. I see literally, it looks like an ant farm, because you see the humans walking, and every single one of those humans, those tiny humans, have a life and have feelings and emotions, and they're going through something. But like, you see hundreds of them just non-stop walking, and then cars and traffic. And then I'm like, it's crazy to think that these little humans are the ones that built these massive buildings that I'm standing on right now.
yeah, I mean, we are ants in a sense. You know?
Yeah. So to compare that, like from the Empire State Building, looking at these little ants, imagine, like you said, from space, from the universe, looking at Earth, you can't even see the ants within the continents.
Yeah,
of
well,
Earth.
from my studies and stuff, like as far as like the galaxy goes, if an extraterrestrial comes to our planet, then leaves and comes back, you don't know what time has elapsed in that segment. Like, it could be tens of thousands of years, just because of, you know, where they are in the galaxy or where they're exploring and stuff like that. It's crazy how we don't even know the rest of the universe, but me talking about extraterrestrials, they probably know everything. Our government probably knows everything, and we don't even get to experience that. We don't even get to experience going past Mars or the moon. We don't get to do that. We have to stay here and not explore the rest of what is out there, what they tell us is out there.
Extraterrestrials they could technically be the size of mosquitoes.
Yeah, well, the ones that they have, there's a bunch of different types. There's the Ebens, the Greys, the Reptilians, the Pleiadians, the Lyrans.
I didn't know that there was actually like
There's an
types.
established alien.
Oh shit.
So the ones
Tell me
that
about
crashed
that.
in Roswell were the Ebens. So those are the
What year
biological.
was this in Roswell?
This was in 1947.
Whoa.
Yeah, way back when. And that's why, MJ-12 was created way back when. And again, it's just a huge compartmentalization of the government. Like, this is the most compartmentalized segment of the government.
So these smart aliens crashed. How do they crash?
So they crashed the site, like the story goes like they crashed together. Apparently there was 2 crash sites.
Okay.
According to, I think his name is Len Craston, who wrote a book on Project Serpo, which is a crazy story. And that was the one I was telling you about, the 12 people going to
Yeah. I remember this.
that planet, the Ebens planet. So
Okay.
basically the story goes they crashed. The U.S. government saved one of the extraterrestrials. He was alive. His name, he went by Eben 1, I believe, or EB1 or something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, so
But
he helped the
yeah.
government out with a bunch of the technologies, and after that,
Oh, he stayed alive and helped and communicated?
so
How did he
he-
communicate with them?
I guess he had some type of.
They figured it out.
Yeah, they figured it out. He was smart. Their average IQ
So
is
this
like
is like
really
E.T..
smart. Yeah, ET. So
ET shows up, says, "Hey, I have this
ET
technology."
phone home, ET phone home. Apparently,
What if this was
one,
like one of the movie scenes where it's like they grab ET and they strap him to a chair and they're like, yo,
well, maybe
tell us
it
what
is
you know.
ET phone home. If
Tell
it
us
is
what you
ET
know.
phone home, ET he crashed here, right? It was the only ET left, whatever. But this guy,
That's crazy.
alien, whatever, he helped. Like, I believe that Roswell crash helped with a lot of stuff, like integrated circuit,
Yeah.
fiber optics, all the stuff that you see in like computers.
Yeah.
And,
So this guy was a snitch. He just gave up all the
Exactly.
technologies.
Well,
like, here.
no, they're just apparently they're just helpful. So
Yeah,
that's
no
why they
shit.
wanted to. So before he died about 5 years later. This is the story how it goes.
Wow.
Died 5 years later after helping the
What did he
government.
look like?
Like kind of the classic alien look. I think that's where they
Like
get.
the emoji?
Yeah, similar, but
Isn't
I think
that the Grays? I thought the Grays is.
yeah, but I think he was a little bit more brownish in hue, like a little bit of like a tan. Like they have.
Have you seen an alien? Like a picture of an alien that
Well, there's-
that you think is credible?
There's a couple that there's like an autopsy of an alien that's that people think are legitimate online. There's like an alien autopsy video of like a short little alien with a big brain and eyes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's plenty of accounts of people working in the secret space programs coming across extraterrestrials and working with extraterrestrials.
Yeah. You do understand, like, common, like, most people don't think that there's aliens. Like,
Well, I
they've
mean,
never heard of, like,
Well, then they don't know themselves.
the
then.
different species. But I only just got kind of exposed to it recently, like, because I'm listening to different people that might have mentioned it, not necessarily believing it or
I
not,
think
but
that's
I've heard
leaving
about
it to too much of a spiritual view on things. The spiritual view that you're given from the Bible and stuff like that. That's a view of one you could understand. Anything that you see, you could understand it better. If you can't see the extraterrestrial or if it's not around,
Yeah.
then you won't understand it. That's just how we operate. So I feel like a lot of this stuff is so, again, compartmentalized where they don't really operate here like we think that they're just going to come and do an invasion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's based on our government, how they want to set up the system, how they want to comprise a future system out into the galaxy, stuff like that. Because, like you said, why haven't we been back to the moon? Why is that the case?
Yeah.
If you go on certain NASA stories or videos, they say, "Oh, we don't have the technology to go back to the moon." What the hell are you talking about?
Some people say we never went.
Yeah, some people say we never went. I mean, and that could also be a possibility too. I mean, I'm open to a lot of different things, but I really genuinely believe that right now we're being influenced, the system's being set up, there's all this declassification of UFO information, but you have to be afraid of Project Bluebeam, which is something that I believe, that's one thing I mentioned in my video.
Pentagon Airlines.
Airplane. As Pentagon Airlines.
Operation Bluebeam sounds like a crazy name for.
That Bluebeam sounds like a.
Like that's a badass name for an operation.
So Project
Bluebeam
Bluebeam
sounds like the blue pill from the Matrix. Is that what they're trying to make it?
No, they're basically trying to reverse engineer UFO technology in order to scare the public into like a one world government. So also like with different types of stories and stuff. So again, like you had the Pentagon video saying that the mothership's out in the solar system.
I saw that.
All right. Okay, so it's out in the solar system now. All of a sudden,
the Pentagon really reported on a mothership.
That's mainstream news. You had the 180-day countdown in the COVID bill. You have all the historical stories of UFO technology and transfer technology, secret space program. You have all this stuff, the creation of the Space Force, all of this stuff that proves that what I'm trying to tell you is whether it's the truth from your perspective of not seeing anything or it's the actual truth, I believe it still is prevalent of today. Like you got to look at society in a sense where can you advance to a point where you don't need this type of system? You don't. That's the key. That is the key, is all this technology.
Yeah, what I like about you is that you do your research. So like you don't just have opinions and thoughts. You take your time to look into all of these topics and look into articles and look into interviews. So today, for example, how many hours did you spend just doing research?
Pull up the notes.
Yeah, the notes. Let's see. I got notes for days today. Notes.
So how many hours of research did you do today?
I did about 8 hours today.
8 hours today?
Yeah, I woke up and just went ham.
Wow, okay.
That's what's up, bro.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
I have a weird way of retaining information, especially with this stuff. That's why I feel like it's my passion, because I can retain a lot of the information because I am passionate about it. So it's easy for me to like kind of look at certain things and say, okay, that's what that is. And I relate a lot of the stuff to a lot of the stuff I see, like you see it in movies, you see it in like sci-fi stuff, and it's a really good way to kind of correlate certain topics for people because that's how they can understand certain things. So that's why I do that on my podcast. I try to like insert videos and different things where, people could say, oh, okay, I've seen that in a movie. It's a little bit more believable because,
I love your intro video that you have like a UFO just flying through every scene.
It's the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, well, now you hear how I talk, and whether I'm cuckoo or not. That's why I decided to put the UFOs in. And I'm trying to make that a thing where I change the intro like every time. I'll still have the Millennium Falcon flying around, but I want to change the videos of what's going on and maybe change the song up sometimes. Yeah, that's the idea behind that.
Where'd you get the song from?
That was the Beastie Boys, Intergalactic. So,
very cool.
Suited the, I guess, the vibes for what I was looking for. But, yeah, man, a lot of time, like I said, spending editing and doing the Adobe stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm trying to figure all that out right now. It's
not easy.
No, it's not easy, but eventually hopefully I'm just going to become a master at it. I feel like
for sure
that stuff's all trial and error.
Out of the 8 hours of research you did today, what was like the most like eye-opening one for you?
that was the crazy story I told you guys about the war and everything, and the Galactic Federation and stuff like
Oh,
that.
bro, I was setting up. I don't know what you're talking about.
So like, so look this up as well. All right, so I'm always trying to say stuff that you could base off of mainline news.
We'll
so,
also go on his website.
Yeah,
It's
go on my
your
website, www.dimensionaldeception.com, or Dimensional Deception Instagram. So the former Israeli space chief, man, I think his name was like Hashed something, or I forget what his full name was. I can't even pronounce it. But look up former Israeli space chief claims that there is a galactic federation. And there is a mainline article where he was in an interview and he said that there's a galactic federation, that Trump knows about it. That's what he claimed. And that people need to catch up to that idea that that's going on. So all the crap that I talk about, it may sound far-fetched, but now it's coming into the mainstream. Now, whether it's a deep fake, whether they're getting us ready for some type of transition of society, I don't know, but it really is interesting. It's a crazy
A galactic federation,
Yes.
meaning a space government,
Yes.
is doing what?
Is basically they are waiting for us, and they're intervening so we don't destroy this planet.
Yeah.
And there's documentation of
good.
them
So
shutting
they're-
down nuclear sites too. Like
So they're good.
They're good,
And
but
are they UFOs as well? Is that what's happening? Are they aliens?
yeah, I mean, some of them carry our same type of DNA. I feel like some of them don't.
Yo,
I think
so
more of our
I want to go
influ-
back to the alien that survived for 5 years. Do you know
Okay.
how he died?
I think just from not being used to the atmosphere of the planet, maybe it affected him.
Wow, 5 years. Though.
yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
So what happened to him? Like,
So
his body?
the Project Serpo.
and where'd you read about this or hear
well,
about this?
Project
That's-
Serpo story. You know, I haven't gone over that, have I?
Not in depth.
okay,
You just
so-
mention what it is.
So the whole idea of that was that he communicated with his home planet, said, "Hey, yeah, I'm here." They made arrangements to come, and I guess either, get his body or whatever. But they made arrangements to. Now this is now under the Freedom of Information Act. They're trying to get this information declassified of Project Serpo. It has to deal with a conspiracy that the U.S. government classified information that 12 individuals went to the home planet of the Ebens and experienced over 10 years of life on that planet. Now, on that journey, on the way there, one of them died, and they actually used the body for like autopsy and using it as like splicing genetics and stuff. Like these things were really interested in us, so that's why they allowed us to go on their planet, kind of like an exchange program. This was back in 1965. The operation lasted up until 1979, and then they were held in. The people that came back and survived, not because they died, because they were killed by them. It was just other things that happened. I think 7 of them returned out of the 12. 2 died there. 1 died on the way there. 2 decided to stay on the planet. So the story goes. 7 or 8 came back, and then they were held in some type of, I guess, containment for 6 years to debrief and kind of go over all the information that they gathered from the planet, along with controlling that information from getting out. These were individuals that were had no families, had no friends, had no nothing, maybe orphans, whatever. They were recruited by the government, and they were basically there to do like a study mission. And they lived amongst these Ebens, who are biological aliens, so they're not like the Greys. The Greys they describe as more like a consciousness being, a non-biological consciousness being, but that's different than the Ebens. So they kind of look the same, but they're not the same. And that all has to deal with life life extension and different type of life experiences from all the little grays, and it leads back to this like center consciousness. It's crazy shit. The Ebens are more biological like us, where they can get affected by certain things, and their home planet apparently was desert, very controlled, prison planet type thing. Everybody was controlled. They had no concept of money. They had no radio or TV, apparently. Again, this is just a story that was told, and it's trying to be declassified by, department, or the DIA. So, the intelligence agency. So, the declassification continued with basically the story of them coming back, and they had a hard time adjusting to like 2 suns on the planet. It was like a very weird time change, so they almost even lost track of time from when they were supposed to come back on the return trip to planet Earth. And this is all crazy ass story, but it's supposedly the first real exchange program of the Galactic Federation, and there's different types of Galactic Federations amongst in the galaxy. And again, when we talk about the reptilians, they're kind of like the malevolent race, the ones that just have an idea of conquering planets and doing stuff like that.
Speaking of the reptilians, are they the ones that live underground?
Yes.
So the reptilians are, I guess, in a way, the devil. Like, are they evil, or do they represent good?
So it could have been the depiction of whatever the demons coming from up underground, like hell.
I've seen, like, I love watching shows like Expedition Unknown. Again, like, he just travels the world, and he did this episode where he goes into, I think it was Mexico, but I could be wrong. But he talks about snake kings, and he talks about how back in the day in that civilization, like, the snakes represented a big part of their life, and it was something that they worshipped, and that goes with the reptiles and reptilians.
It's like the Anunnaki gods and stuff like that, like the story of the beginning, like splicing of genetics amongst men.
So
whether that was
reptilians have to do with snakes or no?
I believe so. Some type of influence.
If they do, does that
serpent.
go with the Bible of like how Adam and Eve and there's a snake? Is the reptilian a snake?
It could. So you could also look this up. The Vatican is also in a process of creating a tri-religion.
The what? The who? The Vatican?
So I believe it's the Vatican. Maybe I'm wrong.
What's the Vatican?
I was the head of the Catholic Church, but the Vatican is trying to create like a tri-religion structure, like almost like a world religion structure. You can look that up too. I don't know what date that's going to be completed, but I think that, and then the Vatican also has invested money into UFO research and alien research. So you can also look that up too. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of crazy stuff involved in the extraterrestrial community, and I think that we're just starting to see it. You're just getting there. Because now we're really getting some weird downloads from the mainstream media, and that doesn't normally happen. And that's what you have to understand. Once you start getting stuff from the mainstream establishment, something is about to happen.
What do you think is about to happen?
So when I made that call in InfoWars, I didn't warn, I just was telling people of what von Braun warned on his deathbed. Von Braun was a German engineer and scientist. He was part of the rocket development program for Nazi Germany. And he then got integrated in Operation Paperclip, what we were talking about earlier, all the Nazis coming to the United States government. And he was like the head of NASA.
Wait, there are Nazis in the United States government?
Yes, von Braun was the head of.
I thought if you find out someone's a Nazi nowadays, you go to jail because.
No,
I heard recently someone was
That's why they kept it classified. That's why the whole operation was classified. It was called Operation Paperclip.
So there are Nazis working in the U.S.
No,
government?
there still are.
There's still Nazis.
I'm sure there's still.
Hold on, wait. Pentagon Airlines.
So
Pentagon Airlines. influences here.
There's
This time
okay.
is
So you want me to
weird.
tell you about the Nazi influences? Okay, I'll tell you about the Nazi influences.
I don't.
So again, I told you about
No.
Klaus Schwab earlier and his father. I told you about George Soros was a Nazi collaborator back in World War II. Like that guy's old as dirt. Okay, he was basically a Nazi sympathizer, and he made a lot of his money through like selling out his own people and stuff. So, and he's evil as hell.
That guy's weird.
Bill Gates.
Does that mean he's like a certified snitch?
Okay, I don't know, but Bill Gates and his
He's got a shit
family.
ton of money.
Bill Gates and his family, they
I heard they're the head. They're like the lead funders of the WHO.
well, that's probably true, but his history of his family, his father was head of Planned Parenthood. Okay, so Bill Gates Sr., head of Planned Parenthood, so the depopulation program there, so eugenicist, and his mother, I believe she was like offspring of some like wealthy bankers and stuff like that. But through his connection with IBM was the one that got him off the ground with Microsoft and stuff like that. And then he went on his own way. Well, IBM used to develop computers to monitor all the people dying in the Holocaust for Adolf Hitler. They were a German company.
Those computers during the Holocaust.
Yeah, well, they were like the first,
Yeah,
calculations or whatever using some type of computer for Nazi Germany.
I got you.
Then they got permission to come back in the United States and have their headquarters be here.
And they
So
were-
that's Nazi affiliated.
Yeah.
IBM. So you have all these different Nazi connections at the highest levels. And then you talk about the Nazis being chosen for development of reverse engineering all this alien craft and all this crazy information where I'm talking about UFOs and all the links are there. They're there. It's now whether or not people could put them together for themselves and how the governments are going to roll out that information. And now we're kind of we're deciphering some articles and stuff that they're putting out there. Yeah.
So, what do you think? What do you think about Atlantis? Do you think there was a community of humans or reptilians or something living under the ocean?
Like Atlantis is pretty well documented, like
I don't know anything about.
Yeah, well,
Atlantis.
the Atlanteans were
all
like
I know is Plato wrote something about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
He wrote-
all I know.
He was a
Plato.
philosopher, Greek
Plato
philosopher.
is a philosopher.
Yeah, and he wrote
So a
about a time
philosopher-
before like man and
What is it? As a philosopher, when he writes about Atlantis, does that mean that he doesn't have like facts and he's like a theorist? in a way?
Supposedly, he found documents about something about Atlantis, and he wrote about it before he died.
yeah. There's a I mean.
Yeah, tell me more
The
about that,
story of
'cause I don't
Atlantis
know
is
anything.
crazy. Like they were an advanced race of humans. They had advanced technology, and then they destroyed themselves through.
How did they breathe down there? Were they fish?
No. It was above water. It was a
Oh.
regular society. I mean, it's not like Aquaman or some shit. Yeah.
Oh, so I thought Atlantis was a city like underwater.
No.
It's the city that sunk. That doesn't mean that they.
Yeah, so they destroyed themselves. So the story goes like,
Did they sink because of global warming?
no, I don't
No.
think so. I mean, ask Greta Thunberg about that. Yeah.
Well, what's up with Antarctica?
Antarctica. I mean, it's a barren wasteland of advanced technology being stored, and that's what it is.
Advanced
No.
technologies in
Yeah.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
Whoa, I thought it was just. a
So
bunch of ruins.
Hitler moved a lot of
what
his
the-
technology.
How big
Hitler
is-
went to Antarctica.
To give me an
Yes.
give me an idea. How big is Antarctica?
Hitler's. It's huge. I mean, it's this.
How big though? Like
bigger than the
America?
U.S.
Yeah, it might be bigger than the U.S. Yeah,
I think it's bigger than the U.S.
I have. It's a continent.
It looks like it's bigger. It
Yeah.
looks like it's huge. It looks
Yeah,
But when
I'm
you-
sure it's bigger than the United States. It's a continent, so like
But when you look at a map, Canada
it's just ice.
isn't
So
as big as it
people
is.
just don't
why
look at it
why
that way.
Why aren't we like focused aren't we as focused as looking into Antarctica within our own Earth and discovering more about that instead of focusing our energy on the moon and the universe and going up? Why haven't we discovered more of our Earth?
Well,
like
one,
Atlantis and
Antarctica
water,
is
Antarctica.
cold as shit, and two,
But it is cold as shit. But okay, hear me out though. Antarctica is cold as shit. But if you're trying to go to the moon and trying to go to the universe and the galaxies and the planets and the stars, it's cold as shit, just like Antarctica.
Yeah.
Why aren't we spending, this money to go to Antarctica and see what's going on over there? Because you said there's advanced technology. What does that mean?
So this is the crazy part. So there's another conspiracy, actually a declassified operation, Operation Highjump.
How do you know about these things?
Bro, I just
The research, bro.
The research.
Where do you find this?
Down to the fucking science. No, so the
Operation Highjump.
Operation Highjump was with Admiral Byrd. Admiral Byrd was he was an admiral leading a fleet of ships to go to Antarctica based off the knowledge after the Nazis were defeated, to basically go and try to regain this territory. Mm-hmm. And the knowledge was that they had some advanced type of technology stored down there. And the story goes that Admiral Byrd went down there, and about 20 to 30% of his fleet was destroyed by what they described as flying saucers. So advanced anti-gravitic technology. And a lot of people, you're not going to hear this on the mainstream, people. I hope you know that. They're never going to go down and break this shit down like I'm breaking it down for you, because they're not going to do it. You have to, look at the history. Don't just sit there and say, hey, this guy's crazy. Look at the history. This stuff was going on, and they knew that Hitler had transferred the technology down there because they knew that they were going to lose the war. They don't want all the... Why do you think Operation Paperclip happened in the first place?
Operation Paperclip?
Yeah, that was the integration of all the Nazis, is what I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
Von Braun is... he was the key to everything, and then he was the one who warned his protege before he died, like, hey, beware of a fake alien invasion. They're going to try to set this up. So now you kind of see it being set up in a way, like I'm saying that, you're seeing all this disclosure right now. It's weird that you're seeing it on the mainstream news, when before they would always compartmentalize, always try to hide it up. There's something behind it. And, people should look into it more rather than being vague about it, because, again, that is the key to the future. The key to the future is through the technology. The technology is hidden in these black site programs. The black site programs, somebody needs to get into power and go after that information. Nobody's ever... I think Eisenhower tried to do it once. He showed up to Area 51 with the army or something like that, and, demanded that he get...
into there,
and that's why he made the warning before he left office.
I think Doc has the keys to the future.
You're an idiot.
The keys to the
Somebody's got some
has the keys to the door.
Somebody's got to do something, man.
Yeah.
Like it's really a crazy time to be
So
alive.
this secret technology, what kind of secret technology? Like time travel?
Do you believe in time travel?
I don't know.
I believe in time travel.
So
happening
far, only thing I've experienced is time goes forward. It doesn't I would
Maybe
like
there's
to
some
try to
type
get
of
younger.
time force, or
Is it?
something.
You said you believe in it. Is it happening now, or it's going to happen?
Maybe it happened now. Maybe it happened in the past. You don't know, because if it's
Oh.
time travel, it could be any damn time. I think there's like different timelines. Like they discuss in a lot of different movies. Like, why would they put that in movies if there wasn't some truth to it? And then there are
people have good imaginations.
yeah, but there are scientists that talk about like different type of timelines, that we're in this timeline, and if this timeline gets affected, then that, like, it's all some weird shit going on.
I mean, you've heard of the
Well, if
multiverse.
you think about it,
Quantum physics and dimensional frequencies.
If you
and
want to
stuff
talk
like that.
about time travel in the basic sense of it, if you fly from Florida to Los Angeles, you pretty much saved like 3 hours of your life.
Yeah.
Like you get there and time didn't move as fast.
There's certain people that think that. So this is the craziest
what
thing,
is
like
time?
that they can like.
What is time? Do you know?
Time is past, present, and future. It's all one thing. Like time is just a perception. So let's just say, if I look from here on space out into some other planet on another galaxy, by the time I could even, see what the hell's going on the surface of the planet, it's probably thousands of years later from the time I looked into the telescope to whatever. If I'm looking at that distance because of the time traveled.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you the other day. Like, when you look at a star,
that's why
you're looking into the past.
That's why you need time warps and stuff like that, and like
talk more about that, because
like
I don't know.
warping.
That's
warp technology and stuff that they have, like that. You can get from. That's the whole Project Serpo stuff, that they went on this extraterrestrial craft and then they just warped through space-time and got to the other side.
Yo, tell me about how when you look at a star, you're looking at the past. How does that work?
Well, light travels at a certain speed. I forget, it's like 300,000 miles an hour or something like that. That light comes from a star, however far away. Let's say it's 50 light years away. That means it literally takes 50 years to get to you. If you see it, you're seeing it 50 years in the past.
No way.
That light that took 50 years to get to your eyeball took 50 years of light traveling.
Light years.
Yeah.
Light years.
It's literally literal. Like, so when you're looking at stars, you're looking at it from however far away it is, the distance of light travel in between.
So the science goes.
Do stars
That's
ever
what
die?
they say, right?
Yeah, stars die out.
So why doesn't the North Star ever die? Or Orion's Belt, why do they never die?
It could be.
It could be dying and we don't even know. Maybe
So you
it
think
died
one
already
day-
and that light's still getting to us.
So if it died 50 years ago, one day we could look up at Orion's Belt and it's missing a star because
Wait,
50 years from the day it died, you would see it.
And I
So
believe
I'm
all the
saying
stars
if
affect
Orion's
frequency
belt died
too.
50 years ago, we'd look up at the sky one day and notice that Orion is his belt is fucked up. Like,
Orion's
is that how
belt
it works?
is not a Gucci.
Is that a possibility?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's nebulas. They've seen stars exploding. Like,
What's a shooting star? How does that work?
that's what she said.
a shooting star is a rock that flies through space.
No,
I mean, through the atmosphere, and it lights on fire.
A shooting. So a shooting.
It's an
so
asteroid,
a
a
shooting
meteor.
star
Yeah,
is not a star.
no, I think it's got to be. If you're a sun, you're a star.
Why don't they call it a shooting asteroid?
Because it sounds cooler.
Because it looked like the stars.
I don't know about that.
So
I'm
they're
not really.
So they're just straight up lying to us.
I'm not really adept in everything astronomy. I just talk about aliens.
Just aliens.
Just aliens.
So aliens. So how many types of aliens are there?
Like tons. There's tons. But I guess the ones that they describe that are like human are the Nordics. The Nordics are benevolent, but they don't like the reptilians. So the reptilians are a conquering race.
Whoa.
I mean, if you look at the reptilians here on this planet, look at an alligator or a snake, it's going to want to bite your ass every time. It's got no other type of instinct to it.
So if the reptilians, what's good then? If the reptilians are like aggressive and like,
Yeah, so they have different galactic federations and alliances, and benevolent with benevolent, malevolent with malevolent, probably. Like bad with bad, good with good. These beings all have different agendas, and the federations have different agendas for all the different races amongst the federation. So similar to like we have different countries with different states, and we have a world organizations with different agendas than the countries and the states. So it's similar to that, but I guess they're more in tune with history than us, because they have a lot more extensive galactic history than we do. And that's where our understanding is now just becoming a thing, like we're just joining it, Imagine races that are in the Galactic Federation for eons, millions of years. You don't even know, like some of these beings could be so advanced, they just look at us as, they're just starting out, rookies.